All right, I just want to explain, as I have several times before in these demos, that when I put up these videos in which I look at play by a professional like Degen Dalt or John Sirasani or anybody else who I've featured in these things, I'm not doing it to mock them or to disrespect them or to run them down, although sometimes I think perhaps they deserve it. I'm doing it simply to show to people out there who actually care about real numbers and accuracy and so on that there is a better way to bet. There is a way to beat these games more consistently, more often than this kind of betting, the sort of thing that Degen Dalt does, and all the others. I mean, all I'm trying to tell you is that as this little message here says, if you bet like this, you're going to lose every time you lose more bets than you win. If you follow their pattern, sometimes they hit a plus streak, a winning streak, a heater, whatever they want to call it, and they get lucky and they make money. That's not good enough because over time you are always going to lose more bets than you win. So you must have a smart betting strategy which allows you to win in spite of losing more bets than you win. And this particular session from DD and his buddy Kyle, who's a super editor, I keep saying thank you to him in my messages to Dalton Webb because I think that Kyle has really kicked his game up a notch. Not his actual game, not his blackjack game, but certainly his video presentation game. He is easily the easiest guy to watch on YouTube, even though he frequently drives himself straight into the toilet. If that's an unfortunate analogy, but anyway, whatever. All I wanted to say was, these guys are entitled to do whatever they want. They're entitled to throw their money away. It's their money, their choice. My only problem with them is that the way that they bet too closely resembles what the casinos recommend for all of us, which is sort of like just hit and miss, hit or miss. And if you get lucky, great. And if you lose, well, it's fun. It's so exciting. It's just the best entertainment ever. I mean, it's nearly as much fun as going to Las Vegas and being ripped off by $60 bloody resort fees and $50 parking charges and $20 bottles of water and all that shit. I mean, God, what has happened to that city? Because when I first started going there in the late 70s, it was such fun to go, and you got such wonderful value for money, and you had a great time. And yeah, sometimes you'd get your ass kicked at the tables. I never play slots. Well, no, that's not true. I used to like to play the old real dollar machines, but I only ever played them with blackjack winning. So I would win a few $100 at a blackjack table, and then I'd go and treat myself to a red rack of 100 real dollars. They were, what were they? They were, no, the half dollars were Kennedy heads. So I think the dollar coins were Eisenhower. I'm not sure. It's so long ago, in the dim mists of time. But anyway, enough of me rattling on again. It's just what I do. I'm sorry about that. One of these days I'll probably be muzzled, but not by me for sure. Anyway, thanks for being there. And coming up is an analysis of what just happened to our mutual friend. So here we are. It's the something or other. Oh, it's the 22nd of November. The whatever is that? The 62nd anniversary of the assassination of JFK. It's stuck in my mind for the same reason it's stuck in everybody else's, of course, but also because I had just started on the Evening Mail in Birmingham in the UK at the age of 17. And I was staying at the local YMCA, which is a big fancy one, which is like a small hotel. Very, very nice. And yeah, I was late at the Evening Mail offices working in the features department, and got back to the YMCA to find the place in uproar, and everybody's sort of saying, "Oh God, here he is at last! What's going on? What's going on?" And of course, I knew absolutely nothing about the assassination or anything else, because I was far from the newsroom in a secluded area. So I look on it with sadness, obviously, and with embarrassment as well, because there was I coming home from a newspaper office late in the evening. Well, not that late, probably about 7ish, something like that, 7 p.m. And I knew nothing about the assassination. Anyway, talking of assassinations, this was murder, this session for poor old DD. I have him losing 5,300, including 2,000 on his extra bets, which I keep telling him he really should think about giving up on. But he doesn't pay any attention to me, and why would he? So there we have it. I've been through the bets that I've written down for him, which are the ones that Kyle, his editor, put up on the screen, and I cannot reconcile his 5,000 loss, as he describes it, with what I show as 5,300. So I'm just going to leave it alone. I kind of assumed that after the last bit of the session, where he lost 4 in a row, won 1, and then lost 2, that pattern betting would be in trouble too. Not so. We go up and we see pattern betting being left dangling with $14,705, $1,500 hole, which needs to be filled in at some point. And this is one of the important points about the difference between strategic, sensible betting, smart betting, and the kind of thing that the professional losers on YouTube go in for all the time. I roll over from one session to the next. Not that I would ever walk away from something like this. I mean, I might walk to another table, but I certainly wouldn't end a session here a loser. But I know for sure that this will turn around next time DD goes to bed, if he ever does. I was thinking poor lad must be running out of money by now. But anyway, pattern betting made 2,625 on action of 19 grand, 15% payoff against a minus 19% house advantage. So, this is a wonderful illustration of what pattern betting is all about. The whole plan is set up specifically to make money in spite of losing more bets than you win. And most people react to that as if it's just an absolute crazy impossibility. How could you do that? No. And now I've got hundreds of demo sessions on YouTube where I show bet by bet by bet, baccarat and blackjack, round after round after round, and I come out at the end of it, and I've got a much higher win value than loss value. And look here, 344 is the average win this time, 158 is the average loss. That means that the average win value over the average loss value is 217%. And that's how we come out with a big plus, like this one right here. But you know what? The brainwashing that the casinos and the so-called conventional wisdom has drenched people with for generations is really tough to break through. I mean, I don't understand how people can go into a casino and sit down at a table knowing that if they bet the way they've always bet, if they bet this time the way they've always bet, they're going to lose unless they win more bets than they lose. I just don't get why they do it. It is complete madness to me. But then I've been working on the numbers of blackjack in particular since I was a kid in boarding school, like 9 or 10 years old, when I was playing pontoon, which is a version of blackjack. It's basically exactly the same thing. And pontoon is a UK, an English, a British corruption of the French name for the game, and it was invented in France, of course, 21, and In English, or in England, in Britain, we decided to call it pontoon. And it became popular apparently in the 19th century, but I haven't delved into that too much because I wasn't alive then. But anyway, this is what you have to look at. Plus 2625 over 19125. This to roll over to next time. 15% actual value against 14 more losses than wins, minus 19.2% in favour of the house. And I'm sorry, but if you're not impressed by that, then nothing will ever get through to you. And what the fuck are you doing here? You know, I mean, come on. Please explain. Anyway, here we are. Dark green, pattern betting's progress against these 3,254 bets shared with DD. Here's DD's situation. Here's the red line thing that I hate because it shows an upward trajectory in favor of the player, which I find suspicious. But I can only play with what I'm given by these guys. Nowadays, I'm only tracking DD because he's worth tracking. He bets incredibly stupidly, but he's just grown up so much in the last few months, and the quality of his edit by his buddy Kyle has improved so much over the months that it's a pleasure to work with his data sets. And then I'm also tracking John Sirasani, and he is one of the worst players that I've ever laid eyes on in life, including all the years that I spent in Nevada, living in Nevada, and watching people play extremely badly. But he calls himself the king, the greatest of all time. That's absolutely crazy. And so because he does that, and because I find that really personally offensive, I keep tracking him and, of course, keep mocking him. I can't really help myself. Actually, he mocks himself. I don't think he even realizes it. I think, he's bringing himself down pretty much every time he opens his mouth. But there we go. It's a free country in America, isn't it? It's a free country here too, I want to add. But anyway, this is the story. We are looking at an overall advantage to the player of 2.8% versus a gross disadvantage, a gross house edge of 1.6%. It's in red there because it's bad for the player. I am suspicious of that, but on the other hand, unlike the Sirasani red line, the AV chart, this one at least shows some kind of normality before it finally goes zoom in favor of DD. But let's go down again to his numbers. 5,300 is the loss that I see, which is 14% of his total action. His total action is not quite double pattern bettings, but it's way up there, and that's something to be sort of cognizant of, because lots of times people say, well, you're betting way too much, your bets are way too big, and more often than not, these people that I'm tracking are betting more than me, more than Algy, the algorithm. So what can I say about that? His actual values, his average values this time, plus 507, minus 405. That's not a bad number. That's pretty much the optimum, 125.4%. But unfortunately, because he lost 14 more bets than he won, it didn't help him at all. He just slid slowly into a very deep, red, nasty hole. We go up to the top here, and we get, again, 2.8% AV, plus 2.8% AV, which is player advantage, 3,299 bets altogether. He's still up, 107,200, and that's 3.2% of his total action. So he's not doing very much better than the flat value. But then that's to be expected, because basically, because he bets randomly, he's betting flat. Same difference. It really is the same thing. His exposure is greater than Algy's. Look at that lovely number there. 2,222% return on risk. Good for you, but it's still only sort of like 0.4 or 1% above the actual value, and that'll settle down eventually. I mean, we will see Degen Dalt, Dalton Webb, I think his real name is. We will see him up shit creek soon enough, falling in line with the AV. Algy, meanwhile, plus 486,000. Action very much the same, pretty much identical to DD's, but the win here is so much greater that Algy is showing plus 14.1% win over action, which is considerably better than Degen Dalt's. I do like the guy, I must say. I'm amused and entertained by his relationship with Kyle. They seem to get along extremely well together. The quality of the videos is first rate, and the graphics are so helpful to me that I feel like doing a happy dance every time I see a new session for DD, win or lose. It's just such a pleasure to deal with his material. I gave up on Mr. Handpay a long time ago because he is definitely cherry picking. I'm not interested in Bobby Rivas because he's a complete loony, and the same applies to the high rollers, to Crazy Cody Burn Money and Steve Will Do It, the farting king of the table games, and Dana White, who keeps on peddling the same white lies about his extraordinary success at Baccarat, where he just. I think he said on his last one I watched, since September the 1st, he hasn't had a losing night, hasn't had a losing session since September 1st. I mean, what can you say with these people? I mean, it's like listening to Donald Trump. It's sort of like, what? But and they are pals, those two, apparently. Yes, Dana White was invited to the White House, very appropriate, before the Wrecker King decided to demolish most of it and put a disgusting what is the word? I mean, I don't know. You kind of lose words after a while, let's face it. But anyway, here we go. Here is Degen spreading from 75 to 10,000, which is 133 to 1. Here is Algy spreading from 25 to 25,000, which is a huge spread. And let me tell you, folks, just in case you haven't got the message already, if you don't spread wide, you are screwed. That's how it is. DD actually had one session which was quite amazing. On his multis right now, he's 40 grand ahead. That's because he had one session, which I might be able to find. Because I think it's Caesar's. And sometimes he talks about another session he had where he won 66,000. I'm thinking, where the hell is the video for that? Oh, here, look. This session here, he won 20,750 on the left-hand bets and 21,550 on the multi-bets, which is absolutely extraordinary. He won average win at 1,709, average loss 430. This number here would make Algy beam with pride and delight, 414.4%. I mean, but unfortunately, the poor lad doesn't do this very often, because then it comes down to sort of like reality, which is down here where he lost 2 grand out of 6, on his extras. Sometimes he wins, mostly, nah. This time he won 4,600. So, I mean, I'm not trying to trash the guy. I'm trying to be as fair as I possibly can. But I'm grateful to him, because what he does for me, and he's had another win there, look. He does occasionally do very nicely out of these things, these extras, but only when he's got a heater, as he calls it, going on. Mostly it's a nasty business. But you are seeing some green numbers here. I'll certainly give you that. I should just go down based on these, right? See, minus 4,100, minus 3,250, plus 35,300. See there, he won 15,500 on his first base bets, and he won 35,300 on his extras. I mean, when you got a heater going, and this was a 10% over here, 10% player edge there. He's just incredible, but he doesn't do that very often. But he does have a few successes with his extra bets. I wouldn't want to get into that shit. I mean, why give the house the opportunity to get extra money from you every time the house gets a pat hand, or worse, a natural? It just isn't worth it. It just is not worth it. And of course, the great guy for that is Sirasani, the greatest of all time. I mean, he does a lot of multi-hand betting, and it just kills him. I think he's about 30,000 down currently. So he's down about as much as DD is up. Anyway, I've rabbited on long enough about this. I do enjoy this guy's sessions, primarily because of the fact that he's improved his behavior and his demeanor, and his I wouldn't say he's improved his betting, because that's illustrated by the fact that this time he lost a load of money that he didn't need to. And you look at Pat and Betting's numbers against exactly the same outcomes, and you're looking at something that makes a lot more sense to me anyway. I mean, my philosophy basically is that I would rather win than lose. And these guys, these professional losers on YouTube, the Vegas Mats and the Bobby Rivases and the Bretskys and all the rest of them, and the farting Prince and so on, they seem to be in the business. They seem to be determined to lose because why? I don't know. What is that about? Why does anybody go to these tables without a decent amount of money, without proper firepower, and without a plan? I don't know. What can I tell you? Next time.